Major Amanda Collins stood at the large window of the observation deck. Her heart beat fast as she watched the alien ship hanging in space above Earth. The massive vessel gleamed in the sunlight, its smooth surface unlike any human spacecraft. "Major, they're requesting to speak with you again," said a voice behind her. Amanda turned to see Lieutenant Greg Fisher holding a tablet. His young face showed both excitement and worry. "Thank you, Lieutenant," she said, taking the tablet. "Any updates? From command?" "Yes, ma'am. You are to proceed with the meeting as planned. The Secretary General will join via secure link." Amanda nodded and straightened her uniform. 6 days ago, the alien ship had appeared near the moon without warning. The world had held its breath, waiting to see if this was the end of humanity or the beginning of something new. When the aliens sent their first message in perfect English asking for peaceful talks, the United Earth Defense Force had been put in charge of the response. And somehow, Amanda had become humanity's representative. She walked toward the meeting room, Greg following close behind. "Remember," she told him, "observe everything they do. Every gesture, every reaction. We need to understand them." The meeting room door slid open. Inside, 3 beings waited. They looked almost human, except for their pale blue skin and eyes that were too large. They wore simple white clothing that seemed to flow like water. "Major Collins," said the tallest one, "we are pleased to continue our discussions." His name was Zelar, the ambassador of the Valadorian people. "Ambassador Zelar," Amanda replied with a small bow, a gesture the alien seemed to appreciate. "I hope to make progress today." The alien sat across from her as the wall screen lit up, showing the face of Secretary General Vega. "Ambassador," said Vega, "we are honored by your presence." Zelar smiled. At least, Amanda thought it was a smile. His thin lips stretched wide, showing teeth that looked too perfect. "The honor is ours," said Zelar. "The Galactic Confederation has watched Earth for some time. Your people have great potential." Amanda listened carefully as Zelar explained about the Confederation, a group of 53 species that shared knowledge, resources, and protection. The Valadorians were offering Earth membership. "We can help advance your technology by hundreds of years," said Serene, the female Valadorian. "Medical treatments, clean energy, space travel beyond your system, all this can be yours." "And what would Earth provide in return?" Amanda asked. The third Valadorian, Trell, spoke for the first time. "Every species contributes what they do best. Some provide resources, others knowledge, others cultural arts. And what do you think humans do best?" Amanda asked. The 3 Valadorians exchanged quick glances before Zelar answered. "You are adaptable, creative in ways we find interesting, and you have certain survival traits that could be valuable." Something in his tone made Amanda uncomfortable. "Secretary," General Vega leaned forward on the screen. "We would need time to consider such an important offer." "Of course," said Zelar, "but we hope not too much time. The galaxy can be a dangerous place for isolated worlds." Was that a threat? Amanda couldn't tell. The meeting continued for 2 more hours. The Valadorians described amazing technologies and showed images of beautiful worlds in the Confederation. They answered questions politely, but Amanda noticed they sometimes avoided direct answers about their history and conflicts. As they prepared to leave, Zelar made an offer. "We would like to invite a small group of humans to visit our ship." A gesture of trust. After a quick discussion with the Secretary General, Amanda agreed. "I will lead the delegation myself." 3 days later, Amanda boarded a shuttle with Dr. Daniel Reeves, Earth's leading xenobiologist, and Peter Garcia, a gifted linguist. As they approached the massive alien ship, Amanda felt a mix of wonder and caution. "This is incredible," Daniel said, pressing his face to the window. His eyes were wide with excitement. "Do you realize what their medical technology alone could mean for us? They claim to have cured all forms of cancer, extended their lifespans to over 200 years. "I know," Amanda said, "but we need to be careful. We still know very little about them." Peter nodded in agreement. "Their language is perfect, too perfect. They speak English like they've studied it for decades. The shuttle docked with the Valedorian ship. When the doors opened, Amanda felt a rush of sweet-smelling air. Zelar greeted them personally, leading them through corridors that seemed to be made of smooth, flowing metal. Our ship is called the Eternal Certainty, Zelar explained. It has been traveling between stars for over 300 years. The tour was impressive. The Valedorians showed them advanced laboratories, living quarters with gardens inside the ship, and a command center with technology that made Earth's best computers look like children's toys. During a meal with several Valedorians, Amanda noticed how they watched the humans eat with curious eyes. "Your species has such interesting responses to danger," said a Valedorian scientist named Narration. "We've studied your history. You often run from threats before fighting." Daniel laughed lightly. "Fight or flight response. It's basic survival. Instinct. We find it unusual," said Narration. "Most advanced species evolve beyond such reactions." "Running has kept humans alive for thousands of years," Amanda said. "Sometimes the smartest move is to retreat and live to fight another day." The Valedorians exchanged looks and several made a soft clicking sound that Amanda realized was laughter. "What's so funny?" she asked. Zelar smiled. "Forgive us. It's just that the concept is alien to us. In our evolution, our ancestors never ran. They stood their ground or they perished. It made us stronger." "Different paths of evolution," Daniel said diplomatically. Later, as they toured a section with historical displays, Amanda found herself alone with Peter near a screen showing images of different alien species. "Something feels off," Amanda whispered. "The way they talk about other species, it's almost like they're categorizing animals." Peter nodded slightly. "I've been studying their language patterns. They use different tones when discussing us versus themselves. Subtle, but it's there." Before they could discuss further, Zelar approached. "Major Collins, we have a gift for your people, a data package containing basic medical technology that could eliminate several common human diseases." Amanda thanked him, but her mind was racing. The gift seemed too generous for a first meeting. That night, back on Earth, Amanda sat in her office reviewing footage from the visit. Dr. Daniel Reeves burst in, his face excited. "Amanda, the data they gave us, it's revolutionary. They're medical. Techniques alone could save millions of lives." "I know," Amanda said quietly. "That's what worries me." "Why give us so much so quickly?" Daniel frowned. "Maybe they're just generous. Not everyone has hidden motives." "Everyone has motives, Daniel. We just don't know theirs yet." As Earth's governments began reviewing the Valedorian offer to join the Confederation, Amanda couldn't shake her feeling of unease. The aliens laughed at humans for running from danger. But sometimes, that instinct to run was what kept you alive, long enough to see the real threat coming. She just hoped humanity would recognize the threat, if there was one, before it was too late to run. 3 months passed since the Valedorians had arrived. Their ships now orbited Earth in greater numbers, and their representatives walked the streets of major cities. They brought gifts of technology and knowledge that amazed and delighted most humans. Amanda Collins sat in her new office at the Joint Alien Relations Center. The walls were lined with screens showing news from around the world. Each one displayed some aspect of the growing partnership between humans and Valedorians. "Major Collins, your visitor has arrived," said her assistant through the intercom. Amanda straightened her uniform. "Send him in." Peter Garcia entered, carrying a small tablet. The linguist looked tired, with dark circles under his eyes. "You look like you haven't slept," Amanda said. Peter smiled weakly. "I haven't, not much. But it was worth it." He sat down across from her. "I've been working through those historical archives the Valedorians gave us access to. 3 weeks ago, Ambassador Zelar had granted Amanda's team access to Valedorian historical records as a gesture of goodwill. It was supposed to help humans understand their new allies better. "Did you find something?" Amanda asked. Peter nodded, his eyes serious. "It's not what I found. It's what I didn't find." He turned his tablet around to show her. "I've been tracking Mentions of other species in their archives. Notice anything odd? Amanda studied the screen. It showed a timeline with colored dots representing different alien races. Many of the dots stopped abruptly. These species disappeared from their records, she said slowly. Exactly. 26 species mentioned in early records simply vanish. From later ones, no explanation. Amanda felt a chill. Could be translation errors, or maybe those species left the Confederation. Maybe, Peter said, not sounding convinced. But there's more. Remember how they laughed about our instinct to run from danger? Amanda nodded. I found references to this in their discussions about other species too. They seem to categorize races based on their response to threats. They have a special term for species that retreat from danger, HFY. The closest translation is the wise prey. Amanda leaned forward. Prey? Are you sure about that translation? As sure as I can be. And here's the interesting part. Most of the species that disappeared from the records were labeled as HFY at some point. Before Amanda could respond, her screen flashed with an incoming call. It was Dr. Daniel Reeves. Amanda, you need to come to the lab right away, he said, his voice tight with worry. It's about the neural enhancements. The Valedorian neural enhancement technology was their most impressive gift. Small devices that attached behind the ear, they could increase memory, learning speed, and problem-solving abilities. Governments around the world were racing to adopt them, especially for military and scientific personnel. 30 minutes later, Amanda stood in Daniel's lab, watching as he showed her brain scans on a large screen. I wasn't supposed to be testing these, Daniel admitted. The official trials are being run by the International Science Council, but I had concerns. What kind of concerns? Amanda asked. The enhancements worked too well, the results seemed impossible. He pointed to the screen. This is a regular human brain, and this is the same brain with the enhancement active. The difference was striking. Certain areas lit up with intense activity. That looks good, Amanda said. Isn't that the point? Daniel shook his head. Look closer at which areas are being activated. Decision-making centers, emotional responses, risk assessment, and look at this area. He pointed to a dark section of the brain. This is the part associated with caution and fear responses. It's being suppressed. Amanda stared at the image. Are you saying these devices affect how people make decisions? I'm saying they specifically target the parts of the brain involved in assessing threats and deciding whether to flee from danger. Daniel looked grim. The test subjects all reported feeling more confident, more willing to face challenges, but they also showed reduced caution in simulated crisis scenarios. Amanda's mind raced. The Valedorians kept saying they don't understand our instinct to run, because they don't have it, said a new voice. Amanda turned to see Olivia Wright standing in the doorway. The tech specialist had been working with Daniel on analyzing Valedorian technology. I've been studying their biology. From the data they shared, Olivia said, joining them, the Valedorians evolved from herd animals on a world with few large predators. Their ancestors never developed a strong flight response because they rarely needed to run away. So they literally can't understand why running would ever be the right choice, Daniel said quietly. Amanda felt pieces clicking into place, and they think this is a weakness in humans, something to be fixed. The neural enhancements are already being distributed to military leaders and government officials, Olivia said. 15% of the UN Security Council members are using FAR. Them? Amanda turned to Daniel. Can we remove them? He nodded. Yes, and the effects seem to be temporary once the device is taken off, but what? But the people wearing them don't want them removed. They feel better with them. More confident. More certain. That evening, Amanda sat alone in her apartment, reviewing everything they had learned. On her screen was a list of species that had disappeared from Valedorian records. Next to it was a report on the growing adoption of Valedorian technology on Earth. Her secure phone buzzed. It was from Greg Fisher, who was now working at the new Valedorian embassy. Major Collins, he said when she answered, his voice low. Think you need to see something. Can you meet me at the old observation deck? An hour later, Amanda found Greg waiting for her in the empty room where she had once watched the first Valedorian ship approach Earth. "What's going on, Lieutenant?" she asked. Greg looked nervous. "I've been assigned to the security detail at the embassy. The Valedorians don't see me as important, so they talk freely around me." He handed her a small drive. "I recorded some conversations. Their translation devices sometimes switch off when they think no humans are listening." Amanda took the drive. "What did they say?" "They were discussing something called Phase 2, and they mentioned another species, the Corvan." "Corvan? I haven't heard that name before." "Neither had I. But they seemed worried about them." One said, "The humans will be ready before the Corvan arrive." "Ready for what?" Amanda wondered. "I don't know, but there was something else." Greg hesitated. They referred to Earth as a buffer zone. Amanda felt her stomach tighten. She thought of the species that had vanished from the records, the neural enhancements that removed fear, and the Valedorian amusement at humanity's instinct to run. "We need to know what happened to those other species," she said firmly. "And we need to find out who the Corvan are." Greg nodded. "I'll keep listening, but be careful, Major. I think some of our own people might not want these questions asked." As Amanda left the building, she noticed a Valedorian ship passing overhead, its lights blinking in the night sky. 3 months ago, those lights had seemed like a promise of friendship and advancement. Now they looked like something else entirely. A warning, perhaps, or a trap. Amanda stared at the message on her secure tablet. It had arrived encrypted from Peter, who had been digging further into the Valedorian archives. The message contained just 4 words. "Found the Corvan. Come quickly." She hurried through the underground levels of the research facility where her small team now worked in secret. The world above was changing fast. Valedorian outposts were being built in 37 locations across Earth. Their ships came and went freely. And more humans each day were accepting neural enhancements, especially those in positions of power. Amanda reached the small room where Peter worked, surrounded by screens. His eyes were red from lack of sleep. "Show me," Amanda said. Peter nodded and pulled up an image. It showed a creature unlike anything Amanda had seen before. It stood tall on powerful back legs with 4 smaller arms at the front. Its head was narrow with rows of teeth and 6 eyes arranged in a circle. "This is a Corvan," Peter said. "I found them deep in the oldest parts of the Valedorian archives, sections they probably thought were locked to us." "What are they?" Amanda asked, studying the fearsome image. "Apex predators. They evolved on a world at the edge of the galaxy. According to these records, they developed space technology about 300 years ago and immediately began expanding." Peter pulled up a star map showing a red area spreading across one edge of the galaxy. "This is Corvan territory. They've been moving steadily inward, taking over worlds as they go." Amanda felt cold. "And the Valedorians? Where are they?" Peter adjusted the map and blue dots appeared across the galaxy. Many were near the expanding red zone. "The Valedorians have controlled this region for thousands of years. The Corvan are pushing into their territory now." "What about those species that disappeared from the records?" Amanda asked. Peter's face grew grim. "I found references to them too." He showed her a list of names. These were all species in the Confederation, all placed on worlds between Valedorian, space, and the advancing Corvan. Amanda understood suddenly. Buffer zones. They used those species as shields. Exactly. And now Earth is perfectly positioned to be the next one. There was a knock at the door. Olivia entered, followed by Daniel. Both looked worried. "We have a problem," Olivia said. "The Valedorians have requested permission to build a major base in northern Canada. They're calling it a defensive installation." "The UN Security Council is voting tomorrow," Daniel added. "But it's not really a vote. Most of the council members are wearing neural enhancements now." Amanda looked at her small team. Just 4 people who understood the truth. "We need proof we can take to people who will listen. and we need to find a way to counter the neural enhancements. I might have something, Olivia said. I've been studying how the enhancements work. I think I can create a device that blocks their signal. Do it, Amanda said. Peter, keep digging. Find everything you can about how the Valedorians dealt with the Corvin before. What about you? Daniel asked. Amanda took a deep breath. I'm going to speak with Zelar directly. The next day, Amanda sat across from Ambassador Zelar in his private office at the Valedorian embassy. The room was designed to look Earth-like, but small details were wrong. The chairs too tall, the lights too bright. Major Collins, Zelar said, this is an unexpected pleasure. I thought you'd be busy with the new joint defense project. That's what I wanted to discuss, Amanda said carefully. The defensive installation in Canada. It seems very important to your people. Zelar smiled his too perfect smile. Of course. Earth's safety is our primary concern. Safety from what, exactly? Amanda asked, watching his face closely. A slight change came over Zelar's expression. Something colder entered his eyes. From any threat, Major, the galaxy can be dangerous. Like the Corvin? Amanda said quietly. The change was immediate. Zelar's posture stiffened and his smile disappeared. For several seconds, he said nothing. Then he seemed to relax again, but the warmth in his manner was gone. You've been doing some research, he said. Yes, the Corvin are one potential threat. A species of hunters. Not very advanced culturally, but aggressive. Nothing the Confederation cannot handle. Is that what you told the Meridians? Or the Losh? Or the other 24 species that no longer appear in your records? Zelar stood and walked to the window, looking out at the human city below. You misunderstand our relationship with those species, Major. We offered them protection just as we offer it to you. Did they survive? Amanda asked directly. Zelar turned to face her. Some did not. Some lacked the necessary qualities to be useful against the Corvin. We had hoped humans would be different. He studied her. Your species has such interesting potential. Your instinct to run, we found it amusing at first. Now we see it might have value. As cannon fodder. As a buffer between you and the Corvin. As soldiers, Major Collins. Your people have a gift for warfare that few species possess. You understand how predators think because part of you still thinks that way. Zelar moved closer. The enhancements we provided don't remove your survival instincts. They just focus them, make you better fighters. By removing our ability to choose when to retreat, Amanda said. Zelar made the clicking, sound that passed for Valedorian laughter. Running is rarely the answer, Major. The Corvin will find you wherever you hide. Better to stand and fight. Like the Valedorians always do? Amanda asked. We have survived for thousands of years using our methods, Zelar said, his voice hardening. How long do you think humanity would survive against the Corvin without our help? Amanda stood to leave. Maybe that's a question we should be asking the species you used as buffers before us. Oh, wait, we can't. They're gone. As she reached the door, Zelar spoke again. The defensive installation will be approved tomorrow, Major Collins, and soon after more will follow. Your people want our protection. They understand what's at stake even if you don't. Back at the research facility, Amanda found her team waiting anxiously. He admitted it, she told them. Not directly, but it's clear. They're setting Earth up as a buffer against the Corvin. I found something else, Peter said, his voice shaking slightly. He showed them an old data file. This was buried deep in their archives. It's a message, not from the Valedorians, but from one of those species that disappeared. Amanda read the short message that had somehow survived in the Valedorian records. To any who find this. The Valedorians offer protection but deliver sacrifice. The Corvin come not for territory but for the hunt. When they come, run. Do what? We could not. Run. A heavy silence fell over the room. Finally, Daniel spoke. How long do we have? I don't know, Amanda said. But we need to prepare. Olivia, how's the blocker coming? Almost ready, she said. But it won't be enough for everyone. Focus on military leaders first, Amanda ordered. We need people who can make decisions without Valedorian influence. As they talked, a notification appeared on the main screen. A news alert. Amanda tapped it, and they all watched as the announcement played. Breaking news. Long-range space. Telescopes have detected multiple objects entering the solar system. The Valedorian Embassy has confirmed these are friendly vessels bringing additional resources for Earth's protection. Amanda looked at her team, her heart sinking. We're running out of time. Amanda stared at the screen showing the edge of the solar system. The objects were clearer now. 7 massive ships moving in a perfect line toward Earth. They weren't Valedorian vessels. These were darker, rougher, with sharp edges that reminded Amanda of teeth. Corvan ships, Peter said quietly. They matched the images in the archives. 1 week had passed since the vessels were first detected. The Valedorians had immediately increased their presence on Earth, bringing more ships and setting up more bases. They called it protection. Amanda now knew better. Look at their movement pattern, Daniel said, pointing to the screen. It's like a hunting formation. Amanda nodded. Predators surrounding prey. The door to their underground facility opened, and Olivia rushed in. She carried a small box with several devices inside. I got them working, she said, placing the box on the table. Neural blockers. They'll prevent the Valedorian enhancements from affecting the brain. Amanda picked up one of the small devices. It looked like a simple earpiece. How many? 57. I couldn't make more without attracting attention. It's enough to start, Amanda said. We need to get these to military leaders who haven't taken Valedorian enhancements yet. People who will listen. A new alert flashed on the screen. It showed Ambassador Zelar speaking at an emergency United Nations meeting. The Corvan fleet approaches, Zelar was saying. But do not fear. The Valedorian Confederation stands with humanity. Our defensive systems will protect Earth. The camera showed the faces of world leaders. Many wore the small Valedorian enhancement devices behind their ears. They nodded in agreement with everything Zelar said. He's lying, Peter said, anger in his voice. I found more records. Each time the Corvan attacked a world, the Valedorians made the same promises. Then they pulled back their forces at the last minute. Amanda turned to her team. We have 3 days before the Corvan reach Earth, based on their current speed. We need to act now. She laid out her plan. They would split up. Each would take some of the neural blockers and try to reach key military and government officials who might listen. They would share what they had learned about both the Valedorians and the Corvan. What if they don't believe us? Daniel asked. Then humanity will stand and fight exactly as the Valedorians want, Amanda said. And we'll end up like all those other species they used as buffers. As night fell, they prepared to leave their secret base. Amanda hugged each of them, knowing they might not meet again. Remember, she said, our goal isn't just to expose the Valedorians. It's to find a way to survive the Corvan. 2 days later, Amanda stood in the office of General Frank Winters, commander of North American Defense Forces. She had managed to get past his aides by using old contacts from her military days. Now she faced the challenge of convincing him. This is a serious accusation, Major Collins, the general said after listening to her. You're claiming our allies are actually setting us up for destruction. Yes, sir. And I have evidence. She placed a neural blocker on his desk. This will block the effects of Valedorian neural enhancements. Once you wear it, you'll think more clearly. The general looked skeptical. I'm not wearing any enhancement, Major. Then the blocker won't affect you, but it will protect you if you're near others using the Valedorian technology. After a moment of consideration, the general picked up the small device and attached it behind his ear. Now what? Now, sir, I need you to look at these files Peter Garcia extracted from the Valedorian archives. For the next hour, Amanda showed the general everything they had discovered. The disappeared species, the warning message, the Valedorian pattern of using other races as buffers against the Corvan. As he read, the general's expression changed, from doubt to concern. Even if this is true, he said finally, what can we do? The Corvan will be here tomorrow. The Valedorians control our orbital defenses now. We need to prepare differently, Amanda said. The Valedorians keep saying we should stand and fight, but what if that's exactly why those other species failed? She pulled up the warning message again. When they come, run. Do what we could, not. You want us to run from an alien invasion? The general asked incredulously. Not run away, sir, run smart. The Corvin are hunters, predators. They expect prey to either freeze or attack head-on. What they don't expect is prey that understands hunting tactics. Amanda showed him a new plan she had been developing with input from military strategists, who had received neural blockers from her team. We call it Operation Fleeting Shadow, she explained. Instead of meeting the Corvin in direct battle as the Valedorians want, we use hit-and-run tactics, false retreats, ambushes. We use our understanding of predator psychology against them. The general studied the plan. This goes against all the Valedorian advice. Exactly, sir. They've been teaching us to fight like them, to stand our ground, no matter what. But that's not how humans survived for thousands of years. We survived by knowing when to run and when to fight. A junior officer burst into the room. General, sir, the Valedorians are pulling their ships out of orbit. Amanda and the general rushed to the command center. On the large screens, they could see Valedorian vessels moving away from Earth. They said they were repositioning for better defensive coverage, said one of the officers. They're abandoning us, Amanda said quietly to the general. Just like they did with all the others. The general turned to her, decision in his eyes. How quickly can you distribute more of those neural blockers? My team has already given out all we had, but we can make more now that we don't need to hide. Do it, he ordered, and get your Operation Fleeting Shadow ready. We've got less than 24 hours before the Corvin arrive. As Amanda left to begin preparations, a new transmission came through on all channels. It wasn't from the Valedorians. The language was unfamiliar, but translation software quickly converted it. We are Corvin. We hunt. You are prey. Stand, and you die. Run, and we follow. This is the way of the hunt. In the command center, officers looked at each other with fear. But Amanda felt something different. For the first time, she had hope. The Corvin had just made a critical mistake. They had announced their intentions clearly. They expected their prey to be frightened, to panic. They didn't realize they were dealing with a species that understood predators better than any race the Corvin had hunted before, a species that had evolved alongside predators, a species that knew when to run and how to turn retreat into victory. As Amanda hurried to implement their plan, she wondered if the Valedorians had made a mistake too. They had chosen humans as their buffer because we knew how to fight. They laughed at our instinct to run. Soon they might understand why that laughter had been premature. The Corvin ships entered Earth orbit at dawn. There were 7 of them, each nearly twice the size of the largest human vessels. They moved with purpose, spreading out to surround the planet. Amanda stood in the Global Defense Command Center, surrounded by military leaders from around the world. In the last 24 hours, Olivia and her team had produced hundreds more neural blockers. Now most of the people in this room wore them, their minds clear of Valedorian influence. They're scanning our defenses, reported an officer at one of the stations, looking for our strongest points. Amanda nodded. That was exactly what they expected. Is everyone in position? General Winters checked his display. All units report ready. Operation Fleeting Shadow is go. On the main screen, they watched as the Corvin ships approached the orbital defense platforms that the Valedorians had helped build. As predicted, the platforms were useless. The Valedorians had designed them to fail against Corvin weapons. They're launching smaller craft, someone called out. Landing parties. Amanda moved to the strategy table. And so it begins. The first Corvin landing ships touched down in areas with strong military presence, exactly where the Valedorians had advised human forces to concentrate. But thanks to Operation Fleeting Shadow, these were not the actual centers of human resistance. They were decoys. The Corvin are deploying in North America, Eastern Europe, and Southeast Asia, reported an intelligence officer. They're moving, exactly as predicted, following the pattern from the Valedorian archives. For hours they watched as the Corvin methodically attacked what they thought were humanity's strongest defenses. The human forces at these locations put up a brief fight, then appeared to break and run in disarray. The Corvin pursued, just as Amanda had predicted they would. Hunters chase fleeing prey, she explained to the officers around her. It's instinct. They can't help themselves. As the Corvin forces pursued the retreating humans, they were led into carefully prepared traps. Hidden weapon emplacements opened fire. Bridges collapsed. Buildings exploded. Each time the Corvin thought they had cornered their prey, the humans slipped away, leaving destruction in their wake. They're getting frustrated, Daniel observed, watching the Corvin communications they had intercepted. They expected an easy hunt. By nightfall, the first day of the invasion had ended very differently than any Corvin attack recorded in the Valedorian archives. Instead of standing their ground and being slaughtered, humans had retreated, regrouped, and struck back from unexpected directions. We've lost cities, General Winters acknowledged grimly, but we've destroyed 3 of their landing forces completely. The others are scattered and confused. Amanda studied the tactical display. Now for Phase 2. While the Corvin ground forces had been chasing humans across the planet's surface, a small fleet of Earth ships had been hiding in the shadow of the moon. Now they emerged, not to attack the massive Corvin vessels directly, but to target their communication arrays. They hunt as a pack, Amanda had explained during planning. If we can break their coordination, they'll be vulnerable. The human ships darted in quickly, fired at specific points on the Corvin vessels, then retreated before the aliens could respond effectively. One by one, the Corvin ships lost contact with their ground forces. They're turning their attention to our ships, reported a Space Command officer. All vessels beginning evasive pattern Delta. The human fleet scattered in all directions, drawing the Corvin ships away from each other. The hunters, angry now, pursued individual human vessels, breaking their own formation. They really can't help themselves, Peter observed. Just like the archives said, the Corvin believe so strongly in their superiority as hunters that they can't imagine prey outthinking them. On Earth, the scattered Corvin ground forces found themselves isolated and under attack from all sides. Without guidance from their ships, they fell back on basic hunting instincts, pursuing any human forces they could find. But these human forces were using the one tactic the Corvin had never encountered: strategic retreat. They would engage briefly, then fall back, leading the Corvin into carefully prepared killing zones. The Corvin have never faced prey that understands hunting better than they do, Amanda said as they watched the tactical displays. They don't know how to adapt. By the second day, the tide had turned decisively. 3 Corvin ships had been disabled by concentrated attacks on their engines. Their ground forces were being eliminated one by one. We have an incoming transmission, announced a communications officer. It's from the Valedorians. Ambassador Zelar's face appeared on the screen. He looked shocked. Major Collins, we did not expect to find you still in command. Or alive. Sorry to disappoint you, Ambassador, Amanda replied coldly. There appears to be a misunderstanding, Zelar said, regaining his composure. Our forces had to temporarily reposition due to technical issues. We are returning now to assist you against the Corvin. General Winters stepped forward. Your assistance is not required, Ambassador. We have the situation under control. Zelar's expression shifted between disbelief and concern. This is unprecedented. No species has ever repelled a Corvin hunting fleet without our guidance. That's because you guided them wrong, Amanda said. You taught them to stand and fight when they should have run. You removed their ability to retreat when necessary. Running is survival, Amanda interrupted. Something humanity has always understood. We've been running from predators for our entire history, and we've learned how to turn retreat into victory. By the 3rd day, the last Corvin ship attempted to flee the solar system. A hastily assembled coalition of Earth's most powerful weapons platforms, hidden in case of just such a necessity, disabled its engines. For the first time in recorded history, the hunters had become the hunted. 1 week later, Amanda stood with her team as they watched the Valadorian fleet depart Earth orbit. The UN Security Council, now free from neural enhancements, had ordered all Valadorian forces to leave the solar system. "Do you think they've learned their lesson?" Daniel asked. Amanda shook her head. "They still don't understand, they can't. It's not in their nature to see retreat as anything but weakness. But they won't be using humans as a buffer against the Corvin anymore," Olivia added. "No," Amanda agreed. "They'll find another solution now. And maybe they'll remember that those who laugh at others for running away might someday find themselves running too." Peter looked at the stars becoming visible in the evening sky. "What happens now?" "Now," Amanda said, "we prepare. The galaxy knows about humans now. They know we survived when no one else did. Some will fear us for that. Others will seek our help." "And the Corvin?" asked Daniel. "They'll be back eventually. Predators don't give up easily. But next time they'll be hunting a species that understands the rules of the hunt better than they do." As night fell over Earth, Amanda thought about all that had happened since the Valadorians first arrived. They had come offering friendship and advancement. They had laughed at humanity's instinct to run from danger. Now Earth stood alone again, but stronger. Humans had faced their first true test among the stars and survived by embracing the very trait that others had mocked, knowing when to run, when to hide, and when to turn and fight. The stars no longer seemed like distant points of light. They were places now, worlds where other beings lived. Some would be friends, others would be enemies, but none would ever again laugh when humans said, "Run," because now they knew what happened next.